this is Sundal. I'm going to be doing a training video on how to take supplement photos for the maximum increase on your claims. We're going to start at the front of the house. The first thing we do is grab a photo of the mailbox and the front of the house. You always grab the mailbox. You look for any dents on it. You grab a piece of chalk and run it across. If you see little dents like that, you grab photos of that. This will get the mailbox paid for. When you run into ones like these, you want to make sure we get the maker and the model number so we can get the exact same one paid for. It's normally on the side or on the back, but it looks like this one's missing, but it's okay because we've done a lot of houses here and I know which one this is. All right, then you go up to the front of the house and you grab what's called a risk photo and overview, and you walk up close to it and you grab few more close-up shots. So what this is telling me is just an overview of what the house looks like, if there's any gable cornices, how long the gutters are, see if there's any window screens. They don't have any. And then we're gonna move up close and look at the garage door, the gutters, and basically all the details in the front. Okay, so then you walk up close to the window and you grab an overview of it. You get up close, you check for the screens, see if there's any hail dents in it, and then you look for any window beading that may be chipped. This one looks to be okay, but and also check for any cracks or any condensation or like fog in the panes to make sure the seal's not broken. But yeah, this window looks okay, but I'm still gonna grab a ton of photos just in case. Okay, another note is if you don't see anything while you're taking the photo, still take it and upload it because I might catch it zooming it on a computer. We'll work our way to this light fixture right here. A lot of times these get cracked or dinged from the hail as well. You can just grab photos of that from the top. Okay, now we can look at this gutter. Again, chalk is really important. Just run it down. Make sure there's no dents on it. So I didn't see any dings on this downspout, but there's one thing that's really important. There's brush strokes on this gutter. That means that this was painted after it was installed, and that pays a lot. So not only they're gonna pay to replace the actual downspout, if it has hail on it, they're gonna pay to paint over top it. And in order to prove that, you have to get close-up photos of the gutter showing the brush strokes. And then if you find any dings on it, you obviously get close-up of the ding, and then you go further back and you're showing me where this downspout is. And then we're at this gutter now. Again, you can see the brush strokes. You can see that it was painted over top. You're gonna grab your chalk and run it down. You can see a little ding right there. So that might be good enough to get this downspout paid for. But either way, you do the same thing. So you do a zoom close-up photo, and then you go back to show me what downspout that was, just like that. Now we're gonna move on to the garage door. You can grab a flashlight and run it over with a piece of chalk to see if any dings are on there, just like Brenton is doing. And ideally what you wanna do is find 1 or 2 dings on each panel, because that'll have insurance pay for the whole garage door rather than just 1 or 2 panels.
High beam flashlight, run it at the top. You should be able to see a dimple in the panel. Like I see one right here. That's it.
You need at least 3 of them, but by most carrier standards to get it paid for. So now that we found dings across all the entire door, we have a really good shot of getting that whole thing approved. Another thing to note is the trim outside the garage door. If you can find any dents on that as well, that's a whole nother line item that can get added. Another thing to look for is the weather stripping at the bottom. And you want to make sure this door is either, you need to know if it's insulated or not. And the way to check that is if it doesn't have as much as like a echo, I would open up the garage door, I would go inside and get a picture of the back of the garage where it has a sticker on which one it is, so we can send that to the carrier telling them that it's insulated. Okay. And now what they're doing over there is we're trying to get both garage door panels covered, so they're trying to find. So now that we found it on both doors, we can hopefully get both of them paid for. All right, now that we're done with the front of the house, we're gonna move to the side. And by the way, you do all of this before even getting on the roof. Okay, so the next thing you're gonna do is go to the right side of the house. We're working our way clockwise. And I see there's a downspout here. You do the exact same thing. He has my chalk, but we're gonna do the same thing with the gutter. We're gonna chalk it, find any dings on it. This is also painted. We're gonna get close-ups and an overview showing what part of the house we're looking at. So let me do that real quick. From the ground level, sometimes you can see some hail dings in the actual gutter runs themselves. I can't right now, but it's okay. When we get up top, we can look for them. Do the same thing with the windows that we did to the front of the house. Overview, get up close to it, look, yeah. We can see a little bit of a ding right there, but it'll really show up nicely with some chalk. Really pick them up. Right here you can see a little bit of a ding. That'll get the window screen paid for. Screen, we're gonna, I don't see anything. If he does, he'll let me know, but we're good. All right, so that right there is a ground level ding in the gutters. We're gonna get a close-up of that from right here and then zoom out on the camera and get an overview of that. The fence is a really important portion of the supplement. It's a really heavy, high-ticket item. So what you're looking for are two things. You're looking for, or three things: any splatter, like hail marks, any chipping, any staining. You have to know if the fence was originally stained or not, or if it's like just plain wood. And then another thing you can do is look up top and see if there's any chips on the top boards. Come from like the side and you can see that it'll show if the fence is like upright or if it's leaning in any way.
This, you want this, you want this splintering here. Yeah. You see that splintering?
Yeah.
You want that. All the splintering is what you want in order to get it replaced. Get that top board replaced.
The whole idea behind supplement photos is close-up, overview. So you know exactly what part of the house you're looking at. Close-up, overview. And then this one was stained previously. I'm hoping I can get that added for. Now we're gonna work our way into the backyard just to get on the other side of that gate. We're still working our way clockwise. So now we're on the other side of the gate. We're still in the right elevation. We're going to continue our ground level photo. So we're going to start with this gate, overview, same thing on these window screens that we did up front. All right, this is a really good downspout. Now, I haven't even chalked this yet, but this is really easy to see two very obvious dents on this. It'll show up really great for photos when you do that. So right there and right there is good enough to get that downspout covered. You obviously want to do the same idea, close-ups and overviews, showing this is a 2-story downspout. So we need to note that in our photos need to show that. And we're gonna look at these columns. Same thing like a fence. We're gonna see if there's any splatter or chipping. This is obviously stained, and I can see a little bit of little hail dents here and there. So I'm gonna grab, and if you wanna like make it prominent in your photos what you're referring to, you can do that with some chalk. So the desk adjuster reviewing this can really see what you're pointing at in your photos. So don't ever go to an inspection without chalk. All right, that looks good. So we're gonna do the same thing for all the columns. Found a really good one right there. And then if you come up here, pan up here, you see a lot of like little hail splatter, all those little circular things. Get good close-ups of that. And then overviews showing what this is that I'm taking photos of. Okay. And then while we're back here, we need to note a few things on this patio structure. There's drip edge underneath the shingles, and the drip edge is painted. You can see that there's like a color difference between where the shingle is and then the color of the drip edge. So that's important to note because those are good supplement items. And then I would just like zoom in on the photo and grab that. And then you're also looking at the fascia, which is the same wood, same hail damage on it. You want to grab great photos of that. Same idea. We're going to go through all the windows. We're going to go through all the gutters, make sure there's no dings on it. And if there are, I can see one from right over there. I saw this ding right here. If you're having trouble finding it, you can always run your hand across it. And if you feel like a dimple, I would go ahead and this one. Okay, so this is a good example of a factory finish paint on a gutter versus other ones that were custom painted. So you don't see any brush strokes on here. It's like just it's a baked in finish. Usually insurance will pay like a line item for a baked in gutter or a painted one on top of it. It's important to note that. In this situation, this is not the case, but a lot of times when we're doing the gutters or the patio structure, the lighting and the wiring on it can be attached to the gutters or the shingle itself. In that case, we need to take photos because that's going to be an electrician or someone that specializes in lighting that comes out, detaches them so we can work, and then comes back out to reset them. But in this situation, they've attached the lights like right below the gutters, so we're fine. And then also from ground level, you can see that flashing right in that corner next to that downspout. Grab a photo of that. And then we're gonna work our way through all these window screens, and we found an actual like dent in the screen in this situation. I've circled it for the sake of the video. That should be good enough to get this entire screen paid for and a labor minimum on the windows. Again, when you're taking pictures of the screen, just circle it with your chalk. Chalk will come out. There's another one right here. That's good enough for the whole screen to get paid for. Okay, so from the ground level, we can see in the second floor, we can see a hole in that screen from down here. Obviously we can't get up there and chalk it, so I would just zoom in on your phone really close, grab a photo of that, zoom back out so I know what screen you're pointing to, and sometimes you can even just point like that in your photo. So, you know, it's obvious to the person viewing your photos what that close-up was of. All right, we have another downspout right here, very obvious ding, chalk, and keep it moving. If you can find, this one has a few of them. If you can find like 2, that's usually good, but 1 sometimes will be good enough. The more, the better, obviously. So, okay, so now that we're done with the back of the house, what I would do, because there's so many window screens on here and gutters, downspouts, I would just open the notes app on your phone and just note it, how many screens there were. So you could just write the homeowner's name, and then you can write back of house. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damaged screens. You can write, we didn't go through these downspouts. We went through that one, but let me go through this one real quick. I don't even need to. I see one right there, a ding right there, in that corner. So, right here, and one right here. Okay, and okay, so one story there. So there's 1, 2, 3, 1-story gutter downspouts on this house. What? Did I step on it?
No, I think
Brinson did? Fucking disgusting. Okay. No, you're not. No, you're not. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 1-story downspouts on here. That's important because obviously the linear footage, I'm gonna put them in as 14 feet, including the elbow. If it was a 2-story, I'd put it in as 28 feet, 24 to 28 feet, depending. But yeah, okay, so now that we're done with the back of the house, we're gonna go ahead and look at the fence. This one is gonna be really easy because the whole back is brick. So unless it's like hell this big, it won't really do anything to it. But we're gonna work our way from where we stopped at the gate and work our way around the backyard. And we gotta look for dog poop. Right there, right there. Don't chalk the dog poop. That's why I avoid the grass. Okay. So you want to get the camera where I'm standing and then show like what I'm showing, what I'm pointing, like maybe just behind me. Okay, so grab a photo doing this so I can see whether that fence is in alignment. Sometimes high winds will cause the fence to lean in one direction, and the insurance will pay for like a detach and reset on the fence. Here's a really good chip right here caused by hail. You know, just chalk it if you can so you know what you're looking at. Get a really good close-up of it. Overview. Just go across the fence board and look for any chips. It's kind of a wobbly fence. But yeah, and obviously this whole thing is stained. And we're doing the same thing that we did on the gate. We're looking for splatter chips that'll pay for pressure washing and staining. So I'm gonna do that.
How many damage points do you have to find before you...
It depends on the adjuster. Like usually like if they'll pay for like one run at a time. So if I can find someone one run, they'll pay for this whole run. And then if I can find someone the back like run, they'll pay for the whole back run. Same with the top boards. You're looking at it like run, you know, back, right, front, left. Okay. This angle where you're standing, you can see that it's leaning slightly this way, right here. And so, see that?
Plus we're right under a tree too.
Yeah, and there's tree cover here too. But so I would see if you can grab a photo, and it's all about angles. See if you can grab a photo showing that it's leaning. And this is something you'd have to note in the job file in AccuLinks, so I know what you're showing me here, because this is really hard to capture on a camera. But if you note it, I'll be able to pass that information along to the adjuster. This one is also leaning a little bit more obvious than the other one. So you try to angle a photo showing like that it's leaning that way. And ask for pressure washing, staining it, entire top board replacement, and detach and reset. And then obviously you can see that this one's stained because you see a different color at the bottom versus the top. So some fences aren't stained. So as you can see, it's the end of that pool is pretty close to the house. I'd say about like 5 feet from the house. That means that shingles can get in to the pool, damage the system, the filtration system. So what we need to do is cover and protect the pool, which obviously to get a really large tarp depending on the size of the pool. But you have to grab that in your photo. If you see a pool, grab that, show me how close it is to the house. And also, I don't know if I mentioned this already, but when you get in the backyard, you have to grab overviews of the backyard too. So we just have a general idea of where you are. One more thing, I've only seen this happen a couple of times with really big hail, but you might want to just like do a quick glance over the stone around the pool, because if the hail is big enough, it will chip it. I don't see any chips here, but just something to note. So the next thing you do is, while you're in the backyard, you're looking at their personal property. Looking at their furniture, any umbrellas, their outdoor kitchen, whatever's out there, and you look to see if there's any hail damage on it. This is like a metal actually, not wood, so it's fine. But this one's kind of under a tree, so
I was wondering how that one looks.
chalk won't show up on this thing. Okay, now that we're done with the back, the only side left of the house before we get on the roof is the left side if you're facing the house. This run was really damaged. Okay, so you can see some really good hail splatter on this fence run. There wasn't that good on the other runs.
But these are good.
Yeah. So you just do zoomed in photos? Okay.
I don't know why it's better over here, but
So like
it's
right there,
fire right here.
right there, there. It's like textbook hail splatter. Okay, so after you've marked it, you just, same thing. Get a really good close-up shot of that splatter, of that splintering, and then show me what fence run you're on. Gate pays a little bit more than the actual run because it costs more, but you're looking for the same thing. Sometimes gates are really easy to get blown over in the storm, so you just check the functionality of it, make sure it's opening and closing right. This one's fine. I do see, I guess the top boards are definitely good enough to get covered here. I don't know if hail would do that, like underneath the board. Okay, and then this also falls under personal property. You just want to make sure this looks like it's like, yeah, furniture storage. You want to look for any dings on it. This is plastic, so it would have cracked if the hail was bad enough, but still, you could just double check, run your fingers across it. I actually do feel some dips on it, but I think that just might be how the thing is made. I don't think that's hail. And we're looking for window screens here. Yeah, this one looks okay. Storage shed, also plastic. It looks okay. Look at the top of it. Okay, come here. All right, so that is a little chip, which is a big deal. So you want to angle your phone so you get a really good photo of that. But that plastic is broken up top. And if you feel it, can you get your camera up there?
Yeah. I see it.
So you can see that it's really kind of circular. That is a very high chance of it being hail damage. So that means, what's happening to my phone? I hate this new phone. Okay, so right there. That thing will get, those dings right there will get this whole thing paid for. We're gonna go back to out here. We're still on the left side of the house. So you see how I'm working is I'm working this way. So my photos are all gonna make sense to me because they're gonna be in order. Okay, we're at the HVAC units. So there's like 3 or 4 things you're looking for. This one's a better one to show. We chalked this earlier, showed you how to do that. So you're looking to see if there's any dents in the top. And you're also looking to see, can you get a close up of that? If there's any dings in the fins, because they'll pay to comb and straighten those fins. There's like a whole bunch of them actually. All of that right there. So what you want to do is, that one looks okay to me. So you're going to grab an overview of it. You're going to get really close to the fins. You're going to grab me a photo showing the dings in here. Like that. And then up top, same thing. We already chalked this earlier. It has a dent. And then you can look at the guard. Sometimes the guard will get dinged up, like just right here. See how the guard has kind of sunken right there? That'll usually get you a new, yeah. And all of these components pay like $300, $400 just for that. A couple $100 for this, a couple $100 for that. This all adds up in your supplement. Okay, that unit looks newer to me, but we're just, because we're here, we're gonna just run a chalk on it anyways. Look at it in different lights. It looks okay to me. Yeah, and this one has like the newer type of like fin guard on it, so it's hard for hail to get in. That's like an older unit. And then all angles of this. Okay, cool. We missed this downspout. We're gonna go, and this one, do the same thing. Really obvious hail on this. Chalk, close up, and then see if you can catch anything. I kind of see something right there. Catch that. Last 2 downspouts. Here's one right here, really big and obvious. Right there. Right there. And sometimes you can look at these little splash guards at the bottom, and sometimes if it's plastic, it might be broken. But these are those stone ones, so it's fine. All right, now and by the way, this whole time we've also been looking at the gutter runs for dings across that. There's a really obvious one right there. Can you see it, Andres? Okay. We're doing the same thing. Close up, overview, showing me where it is. There's another one right there underneath that satellite dish. Close up, overview. Okay. Okay, and then you can see these Christmas lights are attached to the gutters, clipped onto it. That is an extra charge because if we're going to replace the gutters, we need someone to come in, remove the Christmas lights, replace the gutters, and then come back and reattach the lights. That's a supplement item. Okay, last downspout. What we're looking for is dings on it. These are custom painted, again, making sure our photos capture that. This one actually looks clean to me, which I hate to admit. It's fine. We're just gonna grab a photo of it anyways for our records. And this one has a whole bunch of little hildings in the gutters. And from ground level, you just grab photos. And now we've made it fully around the house. And I'm gonna grab a couple more overview shots just to make sure we have everything. At this point, if there's any interior damage, I would ask the homeowner if you can go in and see if you can inspect it. Look for any dark spots in the ceiling, grab photos of those spots. And this is also really important, photos of the room that the leak is in, because sometimes guys will just upload photos of just like a water spot telling me, oh, it's a kitchen. But in order to bid it properly, we need like measurements of the room. We need to know what the contents in the room are, how many light fixtures are in the ceiling. If there's a chandelier that needs to come down and get reattached. There's like AC vents in the ceiling, all types of stuff. If it's a popcorn ceiling. So all those like little details that you may not think of all matter when you're putting together a bid to get insurance to cover a leak. So before you even get on the roof, you want to prop up your ladder and look at the drip edge to see if it's like a silver finish in there and painted up here. That means that it was painted after the fact, or if it was factory finish. In this case, it was factory finish. The other thing you're looking for is to see if the gutter is screwed into the drip edge, because that will guarantee a drip edge replacement. And if the gutters aren't dinged, it'll guarantee the gutters will get paid for to detach and reset, which pays a lot. So I don't know if the camera will capture this, but over here you can see that the gutter is screwed into the drip edge right up top. That alone will get this whole run paid for a DNR. You want to do this on all runs if you can. This is a little splash guard that pays like, I don't know, like 80 bucks on Xactimate. If you want to just look over, see if there's more of them, get a count, put it in your notes, but just grab a photo of that. And then before you get on the roof, you want to lift the shingles and see what's going on underneath. So you can see that there's at least two layers, maybe 3 layers of felt on here. 3 layers. There are 3 layers of underlayment. So there's a synthetic one up top, there's a black one, which is like that 15-30 pound felt, and then there's another one underneath that. So grab a photo of that. The next thing you're looking for is to see if there's a starter strip, which I don't even have to lift it. You can see it underneath the shingle. That layer right there is a starter course. This will get a whole bunch of money on the supplement. And now we're ready to get on the roof. Wait, no, we're not. The next thing, I don't have a shingle gauge on me, but you would want to gauge the shingles. Just stick it in here, go on the side and show me how thick the shingle is, if it's a 30 year, 40 year, 50 year, etc. But I think this one's just a standard 30 year shingle.
And get the pitch from the eave. We won't have the pitch gauge.
You don't have to do that. I pull an eagle view. I'll be fine. Okay, well, you can. There's an app on your phone. I've showed you guys what it is. It's called Pitch Gauge. When you pull it up and you lay it on the roof, it will tell you how steep that portion of the roof is. And you just go in Pitch Finder and you lay it down like this. So this is a 5 pitch right here. You can snap a photo of it and it'll save to your photos, and it'll basically, if it's 4 or below, I'll get you double underlayment. If it's 7 or above, you'll get a steep charge paid for. Okay, so we're also looking at the layers of shingles here. Lift it. There's synthetic under there. The drip edge is not painted, but you still want to just grab your phone and grab a photo of that. Just like this. And showing that there's starter course on the eaves and the rakes. Okay, all right, now that we're on the roof, we're looking for flashing. This roof's already bought, so we're just looking at extra components that haven't been covered. There's chimney flashing right here. You can chalk it. This one's at a weird angle, but I would just chalk it anyways. Grab photos of that, both sides, like that. And then you're also looking for dings across the siding. So these are 2 great examples of dings that'll get the whole chimney paid for. That's just for the flashing. This is a whole nother line item. This could go up to a couple $1,000, so this is really important to look for. Grab overviews of the chimney going up and down. At the top of the chimney, there's something called a chase cover and a flue cap. But I would go walk back that way on the roof, get my arms up and try to get like a overview shot of that chimney from the back. This is more than likely already paid for, but we're looking to see if it's a lead one. This is not a lead one. This is just a regular little pipe jack. You want to grab photos of it, chalk it, same thing. And this one shows paint, so that's a really good supplement item. If it's just white, they'll pay for just a white one, but if it's painted to match the roof, they'll pay to paint this to match. So grab a photo of that. Okay, if you step in the valleys and you feel a little like creaking and you feel like there's metal underneath it, go down to the bottom of the roof where the valley is, lift the shingle and see if you can find valley metal. Grab a photo of that. Now as we make our way up the roof, we take a component count. So as we're looking at the pipe jacks, you want to do a count of 1, 2, 3, however many there are, and you just put times, let's just say there's 5 on here, and you do that and you grab a photo of that. On these vents, you're doing the same thing, running chalk across it, getting close-ups of it, and getting overviews of it. This is a little solar powered attic vent, so you want to make sure, oops, there goes my chalk. Get a photo of that showing that it's a special type of vent. And you basically do that across a roof. The things you're looking for, so there's a satellite dish right there, there's some pipe jacks. You want to grab overviews of that. You want to make sure that you're capturing in your photos that there's a satellite dish up there. These are some HVAC, like dryer vents and stuff. These are, I'm sure, already paid for because they're super dinged up, but just in case they're not, you want to grab close-ups of that. It's painted, same idea all across. You also want to be looking at the ridge. This is just a regular standard ridge, but if it was like a high profile ridge, you want to make sure you capture that, so I know to supplement for like a high profile ridge. Another thing to do, I usually pull eagle views on these anyways, but just to be safe, you can always use that same pitch gauge for the measurement that we did up there, and you want to show the pitch on these. So this is a 7 pitch, and if you press that button right there, it'll capture a photo. You don't have to do this because I'm gonna pull an eagle view anyways, but it's a good little thing to have. When you first get on the roof, you want to make sure and do like overviews of it, right? So we can just see the whole thing. And from this angle, now this is, we're in the supplement process right now. That's what this training video is on. So the roof's already bought. But if the roof wasn't bought, let's say this is going to a re-inspect, we're going to handle this differently. We're going to do the same thing with the collateral, but we're going to draw 10 by 10 test squares on each slope, on front, back, left, and right, and find 10 to 15 hits in each test square. Get 3 close-ups and 1 overview of every test square. But this roof's already bought. It has really obvious hail damage, so we're not worried about that. The shingles are paid for. Okay, so we're gonna be looking at these HVAC vents. Take a count of those just like we did to the pipe jacks. Do the same thing, put an X, there's 4 of them, so we're gonna do X4 and grab a photo of that. So I know how many HVAC vents there are. So there's 2 6-inch ones, 2 4-inch ones, but that's okay. So what Brett's doing right now, he's walking around making sure that we have accounted for all the jacks. Okay, so we did a count of the jacks. It was actually 8, so I would put an X and an 8 right here and grab a photo of that, so I know how many pipe jacks there are. And then now we're gonna go on a hunt for flashing, any counter flashing, any step flashing, any roof to wall flashing, all of that. And sometimes it's best to just like prop your ladder up onto the roof and look for it, but we're about to go do that now. So here is flashing. This is a really good item. As you can see in this photo, or in this video, there's step flashing underneath it and there's counter flashing. Brett, can you chalk that for me? Just all of it. Yeah, right there. So by chalking it, you can see there's a little hail ding right there. That's good enough. Take out your phone, grab a photo of that, just like that, and get me a close-up showing the flashing underneath it, and that'll pay a lot. So that was a pretty basic supplement inspection on a house. Every house is different. The key things you're looking for on a roof is flashings. That's the biggest item. like layers of the roof, how many shingles, if sometimes there's 2 layers of shingles, what's in the valleys. We didn't have valley metal in this one, so it didn't matter. But that's pretty much it. And the more photos you take, the better your increases will be. Thank you for joining us.